I swear, the weirdest nights always start on the most boring evenings. It was a random Tuesday. Nothing special, nothing exciting, just me, my wife Sarah, and our 9-year-old daughter Emma, sitting in the living room, half watching some rerun of House Hunters while demolishing leftover pepperoni pizza. You know those nights where you're in full lazy mode? That was us. Sarah was in her pajama pants, hair in a messy bun, sipping a Diet Coke. Emma was stretched out on the carpet, coloring while keeping one eye on the TV. And me? I was basically molded into the couch cushions, blanket pulled up, eating cold pizza straight from the box because reheating it felt like too much effort. In other words, we were not prepared for company, which is exactly why, when the doorbell rang at 9:47 p.m., all three of us froze like someone had just paused the universe. "Who's that?" Emma whispered, eyes wide. Sarah frowned. "We're not expecting anyone." "Maybe it's a delivery," I muttered, though even as I said it, I knew it was a dumb guess. No delivery driver rings your bell almost at 10 at night, especially not in our neighborhood. Ding dong, ding dong. The bell chimed again, more insistent this time. I sighed, pushed myself off the couch, and padded over to the window. Pulling the blinds just enough to peek outside, I saw headlights. A car was idling at the curb, engine humming. On our porch stood 3 people, 2 men, 1 woman, and I didn't recognize a single one of them. "Who is it?" Sarah called softly from the couch. I hesitated. "I don't know. Strangers?" Sarah sat up straighter, instantly alert. "Don't open it." But curiosity is a stupid, powerful thing. I told myself it was probably harmless, maybe car trouble, maybe they had the wrong house. So against my better judgment, I unlocked the door and cracked it open. "Can I help you?" I asked, keeping my voice polite but firm. The woman stepped forward. She looked maybe early 30s, frazzled like she hadn't slept in a while. She clutched a thick manila folder against her chest, knuckles white. "Hi, I'm sorry for the late hour," she said, voice trembling, "but this is really important. We need to talk. It's about your brother." My brain stuttered. "My what?" "Your brother," she repeated. I blinked. I don't have a brother. The 2 men behind her exchanged uneasy glances. One of them, tall with a baseball cap pulled low, muttered, "He's messing with us." The other shook his head. "No, it's got to be him. Look at him. Same eyes. What the hell?" "I think you got the wrong person," I said, trying to keep calm. "Seriously, I don't have a brother." The woman hugged the folder tighter. "Please, don't do this. We've been looking everywhere. If you don't help us tonight, things are going to get very, very bad." Her words sent a chill down my spine. Behind me, Sarah whispered urgently, "Close the door." Now, but I couldn't, not yet, because part of me needed to know what the hell was going on. The woman didn't blink. She just stood there on my porch, clutching that folder like it was proof of everything she was saying. "I don't know what kind of game you're playing," she said, "but if you don't tell us where he is, we can't protect him. And trust me, he needs protecting." I shook my head. "Lady, I'm telling you, I don't have a brother. I grew up in Ohio, only child, raised by 2 overworked parents who barely had time for me, let alone a second kid. You got the wrong house." But the guy in the baseball cap stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "Your name's Daniel, right?" My blood ran cold. "Yeah, how do you know that?" He smirked, like he'd caught me in a lie. "Exactly. Daniel Carter, we've been tracking him for weeks. We know he's tied to your brother Sarah's voice cut in sharp as glass from behind me. Okay, this has gone far enough. You need to leave. Now, the second guy, shorter but stockier, crossed his arms. With all due respect, ma'am, you don't understand. If he doesn't talk to us, someone could end up in a hospital tonight. Emma whimpered from the couch. That was the moment my protective instinct fully kicked in. I stepped outside, pulling the door halfway closed behind me so Emma couldn't hear. All right, enough, I snapped. Tell me exactly what this is about. Who do you think I am, and what do you think my so-called brother has done? The woman hesitated, glanced at the guys, then opened the folder. Papers shuffled in the porch light. She pulled out a photo, grainy, black and white, like a security camera still, and my stomach flipped because the man in the photo looked a lot like me. Same build, same dark hair, even the same damn dimple in his cheek when he half smiled. Except it wasn't me. "This is your brother," she said quietly. I exhaled, trying to steady myself. "That's not my brother. That's not me. But yeah, I see the resemblance. So maybe this guy exists. Maybe he's a look-alike. But I swear to you, I don't know him." Baseball cap guy muttered, "He's lying." The woman snapped, "Shut up, Rick." Let him talk. Then she turned back to me. "Listen, Daniel, whether you want to admit it or not, you're connected. We're not here to hurt you. We just need to know, where is he?" I rubbed my face, heart pounding. Behind me, I could feel Sarah's eyes burning holes through the door, silently screaming, "Call the cops already." "Look," I said slowly, "I have no idea who this man is. If he looks like me, fine. That's weird. But he is not my brother, and I don't know anything about him." The shorter guy scoffed. "Convenient story." The woman held up another paper, a photocopy of what looked like a lease agreement. She jabbed her finger at the signature. My jaw dropped, because the name signed at the bottom was David Carter, my last name, my father's name. Hell, even the signature looked eerily like mine. At this point, I started doubting my own reality. Could my dad have had another kid? Could there be some long-lost half-brother no one told me about? My mind flashed back to vague childhood memories. My dad being gone for work trips, hushed arguments between him and my mom when they thought I was asleep. Number. It was impossible, right? Sarah must have seen the panic on my face because she yanked the door open and hissed, "Daniel, inside." Now I turned back to the strangers. "I don't know what to tell you. That's not me. That's not my brother. I can't help you." The woman looked defeated, like she'd been through this before. She slid the papers back into her folder. "You're making a mistake," she said softly. "If you really don't know, then you're in more danger than you realize." And with that, she turned, motioning for the men to follow. They walked back to their car, headlights flaring as the engine revved. I shut the door, locked it, and leaned against the wall, shaking. Sarah grabbed my arm. "Daniel, what the hell was that? Do you know something you're not telling me?" "No!" I snapped, louder than I meant. "I swear I don't." "But that guy in the photo, he looked just like me, Sarah. What if—" Emma patted over, clutching her stuffed unicorn. "Daddy, who were those people? Why were they mad at you?" I forced a smile, kneeling to hug her. "It's okay, sweetie. Just some confused people. They had the wrong house." But even as I said it, I didn't believe it myself. That night, I barely slept. Every creak of the house sounded like footsteps. Every pair of headlights passing outside made my heart race. The next morning, I tried to shake it off. Drove Emma to school, grabbed a coffee from Starbucks, headed to work like nothing happened. But I couldn't focus. That photo kept flashing in my mind. By lunch, I broke. I called my mom. "Hey, Mom." Random question. "Is there anything you never told me about Dad? Like, did he ever—" I trailed off, feeling ridiculous. Mom sighed on the other end. "Daniel, your father was many things, but a secretive family man wasn't one of them. You were his whole world." Why? I almost told her everything, but stopped. No point worrying her. Never mind. Just curious. But I hung up with more questions than answers. That night, just as Sarah and I were finally starting to relax, it happened again. Ding dong. Same time, same doorbell. Sarah's face drained of color. No, absolutely not. I peeked outside. Same car, same 3 people, waiting. This time, they weren't leaving without answers. The second night, when that doorbell rang again, Sarah lost it. No. Nope. I don't care who they are. This is harassment. I'm calling the cops. Before she could grab her phone, I stopped her. Wait. If they really think I'm tied up in something, calling the police could make this worse. Just let me talk to them one more time. I need answers. Sarah stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Answers? Daniel, these people showed up twice, like some creepy reverse Jehovah's Witness cult, insisting you have a secret brother. What else do you need to know besides slam the door and call 911? I swallowed hard. Sarah, that photo, that guy, he looked just like me. What if there is something? Her silence was deafening. Finally, she muttered, "If you open that door, I swear." But the doorbell rang again, this time followed by a knock. Slow, steady, knock, knock, knock. I opened the door. The same 3 stood there, but now they looked less confrontational, more desperate. The woman stepped forward immediately, lowering her voice. "Daniel, please, just give us 5 minutes. Then we'll leave for good against every ounce of common sense." I nodded. "Fine." 5 minutes. Sarah threw her hands up from the couch. Oh my God! Unbelievable! The 3 strangers stepped inside, careful not to make sudden moves. The air felt thick, like the whole house was holding its breath. The woman placed her folder on the coffee table. "I'm not here to scare your family. I just need you to see this." She pulled out another photo. This time it wasn't grainy surveillance footage. It was a school portrait. A teenage boy. Same dark hair, same dimple, same eyes. If you told me it was a picture of me at 17, I would have believed it. Except written on the back, in clear block letters, was David Carter, age 17. My throat went dry. Sarah looked at me, wide-eyed. "Daniel." The woman continued, "David disappeared 6 years ago. Officially, he was declared a runaway, but the truth is more complicated. He got mixed up with some very dangerous people. We think he resurfaced in this area, and we think whoever's after him may mistake you for him." The shorter guy leaned forward. "Which means your wife, your kid, you. They're all at risk." Sarah's face paled. "Excuse me." Baseball cap guy jumped in. "We're not saying it to scare you. We're saying it so you can protect yourselves." I was frozen. My brain felt like it was lagging 5 seconds behind reality. Finally, I croaked out, "So you're telling me I might have a twin brother I've never met? Who's in trouble? And now random criminals could come after me because I look like him?" The woman nodded, almost sympathetically. "Exactly." I laughed, loud, sharp, borderline hysterical. "This is insane. Do you even hear yourselves? My parents never once mentioned another kid. There's no way, no way." The woman sighed. "Families keep secrets, Sometimes big ones, Sarah snapped. You can't just show up and drop this bomb without proof. The woman slid a document across the table. A birth certificate, name David Carter, mother Margaret Carter, father Thomas Carter, my parents' names. The date of birth? 2 minutes apart from mine. I nearly dropped the paper. Sarah whispered, Daniel, what the hell is going on? I shook my head. I don't know. I swear, I don't know. The strangers left soon after, promising to be in touch. Sarah locked the door behind them, then rounded on me. You're telling me you never knew? That your parents never told you that you might have a twin? I ran my hands through my hair. I didn't. You think I wouldn't have mentioned it if I had a frickin' brother? But deep down, that little voice in my head whispered, what about those fights you overheard as a kid? What about Dad's random trips? What about Mom crying in the kitchen when she thought you were asleep? Sarah sat down hard, hands covering her face. This is too much. What if they're right? What if people come after us thinking you're him? I didn't have an answer. The next day, I drove straight to my mom's house. I didn't even call ahead. She opened the door, surprised. Daniel, what are you doing here? I held up the birth certificate. My hands were shaking. Mom, explain this. Her face went white. Where did you get that? She whispered. So it's true? My voice cracked. I had a brother? A twin? And you just never told me? Tears welled in her eyes. Daniel, please. It's complicated. No, I snapped. It's simple. You lied to me my whole life. She sank into a chair, hands trembling. Finally, she whispered, Yes, you had a twin, David, but he was taken from us. When you were 2, there was an incident. Your father and I, we thought it was safer if you didn't know. My stomach flipped. Taken? By who? Her lips quivered. By the people we were trying to protect him from. I staggered back like she'd punched me. That night, when I told Sarah everything, she just stared at me, speechless. Finally, she whispered, So, this isn't just some mix-up. It's real. I nodded. And if they're right, David's alive. And in trouble, the weight of it crashed down. If David was out there running from dangerous people, then opening that door might have been the worst and best decision of my life. Because now, whether I wanted to or not, I was part of it. I barely slept after that. My mind was a carousel of questions spinning out of control. A twin brother, taken when we were toddlers, dangerous people, my parents never telling me. How was I supposed to even process something like that? The next morning, I woke up before Sarah and Emma. I just sat in the kitchen, staring at my coffee, thinking about David. Somewhere out there was a man who looked just like me. Same DNA, same stupid cowlick in his hair, probably even the same crooked smile. And while I'd been growing up, going to school, playing baseball, falling in love, building a life, he'd been living in the shadows, on the run. I thought back to the folder the woman had shown me. The surveillance photo, the lease, the school portrait, and then the birth certificate. It was undeniable. David existed. And whether I wanted it or not, I was now tangled in whatever mess he'd left behind. Around noon, Sarah sat down across from me. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept either. So what do we do now? She asked quietly. I shook my head. I don't know. Those people said he's in danger, that whoever's after him might come after me by mistake, which means you and Emma could be in danger too. Sarah's jaw tightened. That's what terrifies me. Daniel, we can't just sit here waiting for these people or whoever else to show up. We have to do something. And she was right. But what? Call the cops? Tell them, hey, apparently I have a long-lost twin brother who's in trouble with criminals and strangers keep showing up at my door? They laughed me out of the station. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated, then picked up. Hello? A pause. Then a low, strained voice. Stop talking to them. They don't care about you. They just want me. I froze. David? Another pause. I don't have time to explain. Just stay away from them, and whatever you do, don't let them find me. Then the line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone, heart hammering in my chest. Sarah leaned forward. Who was that? I swallowed hard. I think it was him. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Oh, my God. For a long time, we just sat in silence. My mind replayed his voice, his warning. Don't let them find me. Stay away from them. Who exactly was I supposed to trust? That night, I decided I couldn't sit back anymore. I needed answers. So I drove back to my mom's house. This time, I wasn't going to let her dodge the truth. She looked like she hadn't left her chair since the night before. Her eyes were red, her hands still trembling. Mom, I said, I heard from him. Her head snapped up. David? I nodded slowly. He called me. Said not to trust the people who came to my house. She let out a shaky breath. He's alive. Mom, I said firmly, you need to tell me everything. No more secrets. Start from the beginning. And she did. She told me how when I was 2 years old our family was struggling. Dad was in debt. He had gotten involved with the wrong kind of people, shady loans, backroom deals, things she never fully understood. One night, men came to the house. She and Dad tried to keep me and David safe. But in the chaos, David was taken. My parents spent years trying to get him back. When it became clear they couldn't, they made the hardest decision of their lives. To raise me as if I were an only child, pretending David never existed, hoping that way I'd be spared from the same fate. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. We thought it was the only way to keep you safe. But not a day has gone by that I haven't thought about him. I didn't know whether to scream or hug her. My whole life had been built on a lie, but it was a lie told out of desperation, out of love. When I got back home, Sarah was pacing the living room. So? Did you get answers? Yeah, I said. My voice was flat, hollow. David was taken because of Dad's mistakes. Mom and Dad thought pretending he never existed would protect me. That's the truth. Sarah stared at me, her eyes wide with sympathy and fear. So what now? Before I could answer, there was another knock at the door. Not the doorbell this time. Just a knock. Firm. Repeated. My blood ran cold. I motioned for Sarah to take Emma upstairs. Then I grabbed the baseball bat from the closet and opened the door just a crack. It wasn't the woman. It wasn't the 2 men. It was David. Older now, rugged, worn down by life, but unmistakably me. Or rather, another version of me. His eyes darted around nervously as he pushed inside. Close the door. Hurry, I shut it, locking it behind him. For a moment, we just stared at each other. It's a strange thing, looking into the eyes of someone who looks exactly like you but isn't you. It felt like staring into a mirror that reflected a life I never lived. Finally, I whispered, "It's really you." He nodded. "I didn't want to drag you into this, but they've found you. And if they've found you, it means I'm out of time." I tried to ask 100 questions at once. Where had he been? What had he been through? Who was chasing him? But he held up a hand. No time. Listen, they're dangerous. They won't stop until they get what they want. And right now, they think you can lead them to me. That makes you a target. You, your wife, your kid. Why? I asked. What do they want from you? David's jaw tightened. Because of Dad. He owed money to the wrong people. When he couldn't pay, they took me as collateral. I grew up in their world, running jobs, doing favors. By the time I was old enough to escape, I was already marked. I've been hiding ever since I felt sick. So what do we do? David glanced out the window, his eyes narrowing. First, we get your family somewhere safe. Then, I finish what I should have finished years ago. Before I could ask what he meant, headlights flashed across the driveway. A car pulled up. Then another. David swore under his breath. They found me! Panic shot through me. Who? The woman? The guys? He shook his head. Worse. Men in dark jackets stepped out of the cars, moving with a purpose. One of them pulled something metallic from his waistband. David grabbed my arm. We don't have time. Get your wife and kid out the back door. Now I ran upstairs, heart pounding. Sarah was already holding Emma, wide-eyed and terrified. What's happening? It's them, I said, grabbing her hand. We have to go. Now we slipped out the back, creeping through the yard, ducking behind the shed. I could hear voices at the front of the house, shouting, doors being kicked. Then a loud crash, glass shattering. Sarah squeezed my hand. Daniel, what about your brother? I looked back at the house, where David was still inside. For a second, I thought about running back, about helping him. But then I looked at Emma's tiny face, her arms wrapped around Sarah's neck. I shook my head. We can't. We have to keep Emma safe. We ran to the car, piled in, and I sped off down the street, tires screeching. My heart was racing, every muscle in my body screaming at me to turn around. But I kept driving. We ended up at a cheap motel on the edge of town, huddled in a room that smelled like cigarette smoke and mildew. Emma fell asleep between us, clutching her unicorn. Sarah finally broke the silence. Do you think he'll survive? I stared at the ceiling, listening to the distant hum of traffic. I don't know. But if he doesn't, it's because he traded his life for ours. The next morning, I went back to the house, or what was left of it. The front door was hanging off its hinges, windows smashed, the living room torn apart like a hurricane had blown through. But no David, no strangers, nothing but silence. For weeks, I heard nothing. No calls, no knocks, no folder shoved into my hands, just nothing. It was almost worse than the chaos, like living with a ghost. And then one morning, I found an envelope in the mailbox. No return address. Inside was a single photo. It was David, alive, standing on a beach somewhere, smiling faintly at the camera. On the back, just one sentence. Stay safe, brother. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. I don't know if those people are still out there looking for him or for me. But every time I look in the mirror, I see his face, and I know he's out there somewhere, living the life he fought so hard to keep me out of. And sometimes, late at night, I catch myself listening for the doorbell, because now I know. You never really know who might be standing on the other side.